What if I told you that some of the greatest miracles in your life were the ones you never noticed? The accident that never happened, the phone call that made you leave 5 minutes later, the strange feeling that urged you to change your plans, the unexpected delay that frustrated you in the moment but quietly redirected your path. What if those weren't random events at all? What if unseen forces have been working throughout your life to guide, protect, and prepare you for a purpose that you cannot yet fully see? Edgar Cayce spent decades describing a universe that is far more alive than most people imagine. According to thousands of his documented readings, every soul enters this life carrying a purpose, accompanied by spiritual influences that seek to help us grow. But Cayce also made something very clear. Protection is not the absence of hardship. It is the presence of guidance through hardship. Sometimes divine protection arrives as comfort. Other times, it arrives disguised as disappointment, failure, loss, or closed doors that only make sense years later. Before we continue, take a moment to subscribe and become part of this growing community. Every week, we explore timeless spiritual wisdom, consciousness, and the deeper mysteries of life through thoughtful reflection. If these ideas resonate with you, you're in the right place. One of the first signs that you may be under a higher form of protection is that your life contains an unusual number of close calls. Nearly everyone has experienced moments that could have ended very differently. Perhaps you narrowly avoided a car accident. Maybe you missed a flight that later encountered trouble. Or perhaps there were moments when you simply felt compelled to walk away from a situation without fully understanding why. Most people dismiss these events as coincidence. Cayce encouraged people to think differently. He believed intuition is one of the soul's greatest gifts. Deep beneath conscious awareness, the soul is constantly receiving impressions. Sometimes those impressions arrive as a quiet feeling that refuses to go away. Sometimes they appear as an unexplained hesitation, an inner warning, or an overwhelming sense that something is simply not right. Modern life trains us to ignore these subtle messages. We value logic, speed, and efficiency. Yet the soul speaks, in whispers, not shouts. The more sensitive we become to those whispers, the more clearly we recognize that guidance has been present all along. Another sign appears when repeated setbacks eventually reveal themselves as hidden blessings. Think back to the moments that felt devastating at the time. The relationship that ended unexpectedly, the career opportunity that disappeared, the move that never happened, the dream that seemed to fall apart just as it was beginning. At first, these moments often feel unfair. We ask why life seems to be working against us. Yet years later, we frequently discover that those painful detours protected us from paths that would have brought even greater suffering. Cayce repeatedly suggested that the soul sees a much larger picture than the personality can comprehend. What appears to us as failure may actually be divine redirection. The personality measures success by immediate comfort. The soul measures success by spiritual growth. That difference changes everything. Protection does not always remove obstacles. Sometimes it places them directly in our path because the obstacle itself becomes the lesson that prepares us for what comes next. Have you ever noticed how certain people seem to appear in your life at exactly the right moment? A teacher arrives just when you need wisdom. A stranger offers words that stay with you for years. A friend calls during your darkest hour without knowing you needed someone. These moments often feel too perfectly timed to be accidental. Cayce described humanity as deeply interconnected. He believed souls influence one another far more than we realize. The people who cross our paths are not always random encounters. Some become instruments through which guidance quietly reaches us. That doesn't mean every meeting is predetermined. Rather, it suggests that life provides opportunities for meaningful connections whenever our hearts remain open enough to recognize them. Sometimes the greatest protection comes through another human being. A third sign is that your conscience becomes increasingly difficult to ignore. There may have been a time when compromising your values seemed easy, but now, something inside refuses to let you continue in directions that conflict with your deepest beliefs. This inner discomfort isn't punishment. According to Cayce's philosophy, it is evidence that the soul is becoming more awake. As spiritual awareness increases, so does sensitivity. Decisions that once seemed harmless begin to feel heavy. Words spoken in anger linger longer. Small acts of kindness suddenly carry enormous meaning. Many people mistake this heightened awareness for weakness. In reality, it often signals greater alignment with the higher self. The more aligned you become, the more naturally you begin moving away from situations that damage your spirit. Another remarkable sign involves synchronicities. Perhaps you've been noticing repeating numbers. Maybe meaningful symbols continue appearing throughout your day. You think about someone moments before they call. You ask life for guidance and unexpectedly hear the exact message you needed from a podcast, a book, or a complete stranger. Cayce viewed life as deeply responsive. He taught that sincere prayer, meditation, and focused intention could help individuals become more aware of divine guidance already surrounding them. Notice the wording carefully. The guidance does not necessarily begin at that moment. Rather, your awareness begins catching up with what has always been present. Imagine walking through a room filled with beautiful music while wearing headphones that block every sound. The music has been there the entire time. Removing the headphones doesn't create the music, it simply allows you to hear it. In much the same way, spiritual practices don't force the universe to begin communicating with you. They help quiet the constant noise that prevents you from recognizing the communication already taking place. Many people ask why divine protection isn't more obvious. Why doesn't guidance arrive with unmistakable certainty? Perhaps because certainty would eliminate faith. If every answer appeared instantly, there would be little opportunity to develop wisdom, patience, courage, or trust. Growth requires participation. We are invited to cooperate with guidance rather than be controlled by it. Cayce often emphasized that free will remains one of the greatest gifts ever given to humanity. Higher forces may encourage, inspire, warn, and gently redirect, but they do not erase our freedom to choose. That means protection is often subtle instead of dramatic. It is the quiet nudge instead of the loud command, the unexpected delay instead of the impossible miracle, the growing peace that slowly replaces anxiety after making the right decision. Perhaps one of the strongest indicators that a higher power is working within your life is the gradual transformation of your character. External circumstances may still be difficult. You may still experience grief, disappointment, uncertainty, and loss. Yet something inside becomes increasingly steady. You recover more quickly, you forgive more easily, you become less interested in proving yourself and more interested in becoming your authentic self. The storms continue, but they no longer define you. According to Cayce, this inner transformation reflects one of the greatest purposes of earthly existence. We are not merely collecting experiences. We are shaping consciousness itself. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to cultivate qualities that endure beyond this lifetime. Compassion, patience, humility, faith, love. These are the treasures no circumstance can take away. And perhaps that is the greatest form of protection of all. As your awareness continues to grow, another sign of divine protection begins to emerge. You become increasingly uncomfortable living a life that lacks meaning. The things that once satisfied you no longer feel enough. Chasing approval, accumulating possessions, or constantly comparing yourself to others slowly loses its grip. Instead, a deeper question begins to echo within your heart. Why am I truly here? Edgar Cayce often spoke of purpose as something woven into the soul long before birth. He suggested that each lifetime presents opportunities to develop qualities that bring us closer to our highest spiritual nature. This doesn't mean every detail of life is predetermined. Rather, it means there is an inner direction, a quiet compass always pointing us toward growth. When you begin asking deeper questions instead of merely seeking temporary comfort, you may already be responding to that inner compass. Another powerful sign is that periods of solitude become less frightening and more meaningful. There may have been a time when silence felt uncomfortable. Every empty moment needed to be filled with noise, distractions, or constant activity. Yet something changes. You begin appreciating stillness. Moments alone become opportunities instead of burdens. You notice that many of your greatest insights arrive not while rushing through life, but while sitting quietly with your thoughts, walking through nature, or simply breathing without urgency. Cayce consistently encouraged prayer and meditation, not because they magically solve every problem, but because they help align the conscious mind with the deeper wisdom of the soul. Prayer, he often suggested, is speaking to the divine. Meditation is learning to listen. In today's world, genuine listening has become rare. Our attention is constantly pulled outward by endless information, opinions, and distractions. Yet the voice of higher guidance has never depended upon volume. It waits patiently beneath the surface of our busy minds. Sometimes protection isn't about changing the world around you. Sometimes it begins by calming the world within you. Another sign appears when resentment becomes increasingly difficult to carry. This doesn't mean people stop hurting you. It doesn't mean injustice disappears. Rather, you begin realizing that holding bitterness hurts you far longer than it hurts the person who caused the pain. Cayce repeatedly emphasized forgiveness, not as approval of harmful actions, but as liberation for the soul. Every grudge becomes a weight. Every act of forgiveness removes another chain. Many people imagine divine protection as an invisible shield surrounding the body. Perhaps it is something even greater. Perhaps it is the gradual freeing of the heart from fear, hatred, envy, and despair. Because once those burdens fall away, very little can truly imprison the spirit. You may also notice that your intuition becomes increasingly accurate over time. Not because you suddenly possess supernatural abilities, but because you begin trusting the quiet impressions that previously went ignored. You meet someone and immediately sense whether their influence will be healthy or harmful. You feel drawn towards certain opportunities while feeling unexpectedly hesitant about others. Often, you cannot explain why. Logic arrives later. Peace arrives first. According to Cayce's teachings, intuition grows stronger through use, just like any other ability. Every time you honor sincere inner guidance instead of ignoring it, your confidence deepens. Eventually, what once felt mysterious begins to feel familiar. You stop demanding absolute certainty before taking faithful action. You learn that wisdom often arrives one step at a time. One of the most overlooked signs of protection is resilience. Life may still bring illness. Financial uncertainty may still arise. Relationships may still change. Loved ones may still pass from this world. Protection never promised the absence of human experience, but somehow, even after your darkest nights, you continue finding reasons to stand again. Hope returns. Strength returns, meaning returns. Something within refuses to surrender. That quiet endurance may be one of the greatest miracles of all. Cayce believed that every sincere effort toward love, kindness, and service strengthens the soul. Every compassionate choice builds something eternal within us that no earthly hardship can erase. Perhaps this explains why some individuals emerge from tremendous suffering with even greater wisdom, empathy, and peace. Their circumstances did not define them. Their response did. Another sign that often surprises people is a growing desire to help others without expecting recognition. You begin discovering joy in encouragement. You celebrate another person's success instead of competing with it. Acts of generosity become rewarding even when no one notices. This reflects one of Cayce's most consistent themes: service. He frequently reminded those seeking spiritual understanding that knowledge alone accomplishes very little. Wisdom must become action. Love must become behavior. Faith must become compassion. The measure of spiritual growth is not how much we know, it is how deeply we live. Perhaps divine protection increases as our lives become instruments through which goodness flows into the world, not because we earn protection, but because we become more aligned with the purpose for which our souls came here. There is another remarkable pattern many people overlook. The more spiritually mature you become, the less interested you are in convincing everyone else that you're right. Humility quietly replaces the need to win every argument. You become more comfortable saying, "I don't know." Ironically, this openness often allows greater wisdom to enter. Cayce encouraged seekers to test spiritual ideas through experience rather than blind acceptance. Truth, he believed, reveals itself through living, not through endless debate. This approach requires courage. It asks us to remain curious instead of rigid, to remain compassionate instead of judgmental, to remain teachable throughout our lives. And perhaps that is another sign of divine guidance. You never stop growing, even after profound spiritual experiences. There are always deeper levels of understanding waiting to unfold. Imagine climbing a mountain. Each summit reveals another horizon. Every answer gives birth to new questions. Growth itself becomes the journey. As we reflect on these signs, it is important to remember one final truth. None of them prove that someone is more special than anyone else. Divine guidance is not reserved for a chosen few. Cayce's readings consistently pointed toward a loving creator whose presence is available to every sincere soul willing to seek it. Some recognize that guidance early in life, others discover it after great hardship. Some notice it through quiet intuition, others through unexpected circumstances. The path may differ, but the invitation remains the same. Slow down, pay attention, listen. There is wisdom in silence, there is strength in kindness, there is purpose even in your setbacks, and there is hope even when the road ahead seems uncertain. If you've experienced close calls that changed your life, meaningful coincidences that seemed impossible to explain, or quiet moments when an inner voice guided you toward a better path, perhaps they deserve another look. Perhaps those moments were not interruptions. Perhaps they were invitations. Invitations to trust more deeply, to love more freely, to forgive more completely, to become the person your soul has always been, quietly encouraging you to become, whether you describe that presence as God, the divine, infinite consciousness, or simply the wisdom of the higher self. One truth echoes throughout Cayce's teachings. You are never truly walking alone. Even during seasons when heaven feels silent, your next step may already be gently illuminated. So the next time life delays your plans, closes a door, redirects your path, or places an unexpected challenge before you, pause before assuming something has gone wrong. It may be that unseen wisdom is protecting a future you cannot yet see. Thank you for spending these moments in reflection. If this message resonated with your heart, consider sharing it with someone who may need encouragement today. And remember, every act of compassion, every quiet prayer, every moment of forgiveness, and every choice rooted in love sends a ripple far beyond what the eyes can measure. May you walk forward with courage, live with purpose, and trust that even in life's greatest mysteries, you are guided by a wisdom greater than yourself.